Everyone, I'm Michael. Welcome to today's class. You may or may not be interested in today's topic, but the information presented in the lesson is useful for understanding ourselves better. Furthermore, your English skills will improve, and so will your cognition. So then, are you ready? Let's get started. The human body is a beautiful work of art. It is also an elegant machine with many complex systems working together in harmony. Each system depends on all the others to function smoothly. A researcher named Fritz Kahn, in his 1926 classic, Man as Industrial Palace, described the human body as the highest performance machine in the world, and used industrial metaphors to illustrate its remarkable capacities. In this lesson, we will use metaphors to explain and illustrate the function of different systems in the human body. This lesson has two parts. Part 1, Human Body Systems Everywhere. Part 2, Wonders of God's Masterpiece. Let's begin by looking at different systems of the human body, starting with the circulatory system. This system allows blood to move around your body, transporting oxygen, carbon dioxide, and nutrients to where they need to be. In the chest area, the beating heart fills the blood cells with oxygen from the lungs. The heart then pumps the blood cells through arteries to give their oxygen to muscles and other systems in the body. Once the blood cells have released their oxygen, they travel back towards the chest through veins. In our course, we talk about the way blood flows in the body. In the circulatory system, everything depends on the flow of blood to and from the heart. To compare the circulatory system to a human creation, it all works like the transportation network of a large city. The highways, subway tunnels, bus routes, and sidewalks all transport people to work. After they release their effort at work and become tired, they need to be transported back home to rest. In the movie Osmosis Jones, a white blood cell is a city police detective trying to find a disease in a human's body. With the help of his medicine pill friend, he moves through the veins and arteries to get to different parts of the body to find the criminal virus. White blood cells are part of the immune system, which is how the body protects itself from infections and diseases. In Osmosis Jones, the immune system is shown as the city police force, patrolling every part of the body to keep it safe. In the movie, diseases are the criminals since they are trying to harm the other cells in the body. Overall, the fight between diseases and the body's immune system reflects the fight between police and criminals. Our course introduces the next system we will talk about. Now that we understand a little about the circulatory system, we can ask what it needs to operate. One thing it can't operate without is energy, which comes from food. Although the food only becomes useful energy by passing through the digestive system. The digestive system is the way the body obtains energy from food. The first step is the mouth, which breaks down large chunks of food by chewing and swallowing. The food then goes down the esophagus and into the stomach. The stomach further breaks down the food with stomach acid. The food then goes into the small and large intestines, which extract the nutrients to provide energy for the body. The parts of food that are not useful to the body go through the small intestine and then the large intestine. After the long journey through the intestines, the remaining food is disposed of as waste. To find a metaphor for the digestive system, a car's fuel system is its method of delivering energy. A car gets fuel from the gas station, similar to how humans go to restaurants to eat. The fuel travels to the fuel tank and eventually goes into the engine to extract the energy needed to power the car. After the useful energy is extracted, the exhaust fumes go out of the muffler, much like the leftover waste of food is sent out the body. Sometimes people describe food as fuel to power themselves through a workday. The next system we will talk about is the respiratory system. This system is responsible for our breathing, which can also be called respiring. Air goes in through the mouth or nose, down the windpipe, and into the lungs. Inside the lungs are a network of tubes that fill your blood cells with oxygen and remove the carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide goes back up your windpipe and out of your mouth or nose as you exhale. The respiratory system is much like the forests on planet Earth. When the Earth's air passes through a forest, the trees absorb the carbon dioxide into their leaves and release oxygen back into the air. This oxygen in the air helps humans and animals to breathe, much like oxygen helps our muscles to move. Another system that helps us move is the skeletal system. The human skeleton is a collection of 206 bones which have 5 functions. They form the shape of your body, support movement, protect organs, store minerals, and produce blood cells. Besides bones, humans also have cartilage that shapes our body while also being flexible. Cartilage is found in the ears and nose, and also around joints, such as in the elbows and knees. The skeletal system is similar to the frame of a car. It protects the valuable goods inside, gives the car its shape, and holds all of the components together. Like the skeleton, the frame is the hardest part of the car, but can still be damaged by a strong impact. One system in the body with many different parts is the muscular system. It includes over 650 muscles in your body, which work together to move as a single unit. Throughout the day, humans are required to use muscles to eat and breathe to power the digestive and respiratory systems. To continue using the car metaphor, the muscular system is similar to the engine. It's the only thing that can move you forward, get to places, and perform tasks. You can measure the strength of your muscles by testing how much weight you can lift or how fast you can run. The car can be tested by how much weight it can pull or fast it can go. Up until this point, we've been talking about the body. You wake up with it, feed it, and sleep with it. But how well do you really know your own body? Let's look at some interesting aspects of your body that may make you feel differently about it. The brain is a fascinating organ that controls all other parts of the body. The human brain is the most intelligent of any species on Earth. It's interesting to think that when a scientist studies the brain, that human brain is studying its own anatomy. "80% of the brain is water, with a very similar water content of watermelon. This is why the bones of your skull are needed to protect your melon. Also, you should wear a helmet when playing sports to further protect your brain against sudden impact." To try and understand how the brain really works, think of it as a computer. Computers receive inputs from the keyboard, mouse, or information from the internet. The inputs for a human brain are the 5 senses: touch, taste, sight, smell, and hearing. Once a computer receives this input, it needs to decode this information and calculate it to do something useful, just like your brain does. A computer has several possible outputs, including images displayed on the monitor, sounds played through the speakers, information sent to a printer, or data uploaded to the internet. The brain has only one possible output: the muscular system. The only way your brain can affect the outside world is by moving muscles. This is why when you have a good idea, you should write it down, because it doesn't exist until you use your muscles to do something to the world. What other people think about you and how you will be remembered is determined by how your brain moves your muscles. Be sure to make all the right moves. In the movie Osmosis Jones, the brain is the city hall. People often compare the government to the central nervous system of the city or country. Since the brain controls all of the muscles in the body, the brain is in charge of the individual. However, the brain still relies on all of the other systems to function. Another organ of vital importance is your heart. To get an idea of the size of your heart, make a fist. The size of the fist is very similar to the size of your heart. You can check your heartbeat or pulse by touching the side of your neck or the top of your wrist with 2 fingers. You might have to try touching a few different spots, but you should be able to start feeling the regular beating of your heart. The more physically fit you are, the lower your resting heart rate will be. Once you start to move your body, your heart rate will quickly go up. In order to keep your heart healthy, you should do cardiovascular exercise every day. This is also known as cardio and could be running, biking, swimming, or any other activity that gets your heart rate up for 20 minutes to an hour. Sometimes, older people with heart problems need to get a pacemaker. This is a portable device which takes control of their circulatory system and pumps their heart for them using an electric current. When someone has this machine, their heart rate stays the same, regardless of whether they are resting or exercising. The lungs are quite unique and interesting as well. The right lung is bigger than the left lung because of the position of the heart against it. The lungs have a complex network of tubes and pipes that get smaller and smaller as they get more complicated. The total surface area of all the tubes inside the human lung is equal to a tennis court. The lungs are actually the only part of the body which floats in water, yet it can allow the whole body to float when full of air. The next time you are in a swimming pool, try this experiment. Take in a deep breath, hold your nose, and go underwater. You will find that your body floats to the top of the pool. Next, breathe in and then out, hold your nose, and then go underwater again. This time, you will sink. Be careful. When you don't have a breath in your lungs, you will need to come up for air sooner. It is fascinating to think that all of these organs and systems are constantly working together in harmony all the time. Without us realizing, the human body performs incredibly complex functions on a regular basis. Take a moment to think about all of the functions your body is performing right now. To illustrate how complex our normal movements can be, let's look at the famous online game QWOP, named after the 4 keys on the keyboard it uses to control. The objective of the game seems simple. You need to run 100 meters to reach the finish line. However, the game requires you to control your thighs and calves separately and coordinate your leg muscles to balance and run. After a few seconds, the player realizes that it is extremely difficult to coordinate our muscles. The complex and delicate process of walking is mostly handled subconsciously by the brain. This frees up our mind to think about other things. Another seemingly simple task that requires the brain to do a lot of subconscious calculation is catching a ball. Let's break down the process. We concentrate on the ball heading towards our body and use both our eyes to determine how far away the ball is. This is called depth perception. Once we determine when the ball will reach us, we calculate where the ball will be according to its speed and the effect of gravity. We then move our shoulder, arm, elbow, wrist, and finger muscles to place our hand in the predicted spot. Once the ball has landed in our hand, we have to react quickly and close our fingers around the ball so it doesn't drop. All of this happens in about 2 seconds. As we can see, even the simplest game of catch requires the brain to complete several complex calculations without us even noticing. As we practice, our brain makes calculations faster, and we learn to perform these actions better and better. As they say, practice makes perfect. When we talk about all the amazing things our body can do, we realize how people only learn to appreciate their abilities after they lose them. We do simple actions like walking and talking so often, we don't appreciate the amazing movements of the human body. People are in such a hurry to become rich and famous that they forget about the present time. Only when we lose our strength and feel the difficulty of walking can we finally realize the true importance of our health. The human body is very similar to a machine. A machine needs fuel, occasional repairs, and routine maintenance. To keep your body working smoothly, you should give it healthy fuel, stay in the habit of exercising, don't get too hot or cold, and occasionally take some time to relax. One common feature of all of the metaphors discussed today is that all of the small parts have a role to play in making the entire system work. While each nut and bolt does its job to make the machine work, each cell does its job towards a functioning body. Each system works together to create something greater than the sum of its parts. Let's quickly review what we learned today. In this lesson, we will use metaphors to explain and illustrate the function of different systems in the human body. Part 1. Human body systems everywhere. Part 2. Wonders of God's masterpiece. To end the lesson, let's ask ourselves, are we all working together as part of a larger system in the universe? That's all for today's class. Thank you for coming. See you next time.